Hey guys, don't know who's listening exactly, but today I'm gonna be coloring in my coloring book. It's not gonna be the best quality, but I am gonna be talking, about, I don't know. I was kind of brainstorming. I was doing the dishes and I was brainstorming what I could do. And I was thinking I would share basically something that I've mastered in terms of like maybe not mastered, but something that I feel like has become a part of me, some kind of a lesson or whatever it may be, something like that. And then something that I'm working on, something that I'm actively practicing, and then also something that I haven't begun practicing, something that I want to practice, something that I want to get better at. Because that's essentially what it's at least something that I wanted to talk about is like a part of this, which I will get to. But let's kick things off. And if anybody is listening out there, feel free to share your 3 things. It could be more, it could be less, whatever you want to share, whatever you feel compelled to share, go ahead and share it. I would love to hear what that might be for you. I would love to give you an opportunity to sort of share that and acknowledge your successes and your curiosities. So please feel free to comment and share if you would like to. You're welcome to. You're not, I know someone like me. First fact about me, I don't even know if I should even call it that, but it is something that I do deal with, and that is social anxiety. And I'll talk about that in a little bit, but, that is something that commenting on things and sharing my opinion kind of feels a little useless sometimes because of my social anxiety. I'm like, nah, no one wants to hear, no one cares, like, why would I share this? Someone's gonna read this and be like, what a freaking idiot. No one cares. But yeah, so feel free to share. I promise you I'm not gonna be judging. But yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and, well, honestly, I kind of feel compelled to share something that I'm practicing first because it does link to social anxiety a little bit. I don't know how common, I know that social anxiety is pretty common. I feel like especially in the world that we're growing up in, if you were born maybe in the time of technology like me, I was born in 2002, so when I was growing up, I always had technology somewhat, and I grew up kind of having the internet, and it was always very easy to, which honestly, I don't know if that played into my role of social anxiety, or like the role that social anxiety plays in, that it had played in my life, because I had social anxiety all my life, and I never really labeled it like that until I was in college. But I guess I might as well bring it up since I'm talking about it. But when I was in school, ever since preschool, I was like 4 or 5, however age I was before kindergarten, I didn't talk in school until I was in 3rd grade, and that was only because I switched schools. And yeah, I was always really like, I was just so nervous about, like, because in preschool, that's when it really started, right? Obviously, that's the first place where I had to speak, and I wasn't speaking, and I was scared to speak. And then after the first day, it kind of sets this expectation of, well, now I'm the girl who doesn't talk, right? So I can't show up to class next day and talk. Like, that's kind of essentially what was going on in my little kid brain. And so preschool did not talk. And then when I got to kindergarten, I was like, okay, great, this is going to be a new school. I'm actually going to, like, an actual school, I guess. I don't know. And I kind of had that intention. I think I always had the intention to speak. But there was one kid who was in my preschool class who was in my kindergarten class. He came with me to preschool or to kindergarten, and I was like, damn, that guy knows me. He knows that I don't talk. So guess what? I'm not going to talk in kindergarten either. So yeah, and I continued going to that school for 3 years, for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. Did not talk in all of those grades. I literally did not utter a word. I mean, whatever, we're not going to get into it, but it took me moving schools completely to be able to talk. And even then, I don't know if you guys know what CCD is, but it's basically an after school activity that's like a religious thing. It's basically just like a Catholic after school, let's say, and it takes like an hour. It would start at like 4 or something, I don't really know, and I hated it. And I knew all the kids that went to my school, my kindergarten to first to second grade, whatever. There was a majority of people went to that school that I went to CCD with. So even though I switched schools, I still didn't talk in CCD at all, which was up until 6th grade. So, and just for reference, that means that I, growing up, did not speak in school from kindergarten, from preschool, which I was like, I think 4. I started off 4, yeah. So from age 4 to age 12, I had issues with not speaking. And probably beyond that, I don't really remember, but I do remember in middle school, like, seeing some girls that knew me, because in middle school, that's when, all the schools of the district come together, at least in my district. There was, like, one of the girls, she's super kind, but she was like, oh my god, like, it's you. I don't remember, but, I don't remember if I talked to her or not at that point, but eventually I remember we became friends, like, a couple years later for, like, a period of time. But anyway, that's totally besides the point. I'm just wanted to give some background about social anxiety. But now, as an adult, after going to college, I was like, hey, wait a second. Wait a second. Have I had social anxiety, like, actually, like, diagnosable social anxiety my whole life? And just to be clear, I have not been diagnosed for anything ever before. But I mean, I'm pretty certain that I do have social anxiety, because people don't deal with what I deal with. And every time I look up social anxiety, it's like, boom, boom, boom. I have all of it. I hate going out. I hate having to talk to people at all. I totally avoid situations where there's people. Obviously, as an adult, that is something that I've had to overcome and had to work with, and I've gotten way better, especially as I got my first job. Like, that helped a ton. However, that does not mean that it's over and done with. Like, no, I still deal with it every single day, and even with my family, with strangers, at work, while I'm shopping, it's a part of life. But here's what I'm gonna switch. Here's what I'm gonna talk about now. I'm sorry that I tend to ramble, so I hope that whoever does find me, I do tend to ramble about things in my life, and I hate doing that sometimes, because I do feel like I'm talking about myself too much, like I'm being a little bit selfish, and like I just want to talk about myself. But I mean, that is kind of something that I do like to do. I do like to talk about my experiences. I feel like no one has ever asked me about my experiences, at least in a lot of situations. I'm not going to say not ever, but I haven't had a lot of opportunities to connect with people about my life. So I want to share my stories, and I would love, like I said, whatever you guys had to share, please do share. I would love to hear. I would love to connect and relate to you guys. Whoever is listening, I swear, like, please feel free. But so I was saying, I forget what I was saying. Talking about myself, but bear with me here. I don't really remember. I might just move on. Maybe I'll address it in the future if it is something that, if there is something that I was going to talk about. I'm trying to get the angle for you guys so that it's not like, I know, like I said, this is not going to be super high quality by any means, but anyway, so basically, the thing that I wanted to talk about, this is going to be a little bit spiritual too, that is something else about me, is that I am pretty spiritual. I'm not like, I'm not like crazy, I don't think, but I do believe that if you look deeply, if you look back on your life, you can find a reason that everything happens. Everything happens for you, everything happens the way it's meant to go, and like, if you can really connect with yourself on that level, if you can be very peaceful and very mindful, you can find the basically the importance, I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking for, but certain things that happen in your life, they happen for you. They happen in order for you to grow a certain way, let's say. But it can be among other things. I'm sorry, I'm sounding hectic right now. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I got a call from my mom. And yes, I'm recording with my phone. I feel exposed. Anyway, so just to move on here, so in my life, at least in this season of my life, we'll call it, I feel like just more recently, there will be situations where, when everything just seems to go wrong, which I will say, there are some days that just go very, very wrong, and it's all in a very strangely aligned way. It's almost like, the universe is like, please, whatever you're doing, like, stop. Stop trying to get things done. Stop trying to go to this place. Stop trying to do this thing. And you kind of want to listen to it. And, in the past, there have been days like that. We'll just put it that way, where, you constantly debate, am I not meant to do this today? Am I supposed to just go home and succumb to the defeat, I guess? And I feel like sometimes it only takes a small inconvenience to make you think, oh, is today not the day? Am I not meant to do this today? And it can be for simple things, such as like grocery shopping or doing laundry, if you're someone who has to go like to a public laundromat, which I do, but basically, this is what I'm learning. This is what I'm learning, you know what I mean? Hold on, we're gonna be sharpening my colored pencil here. I'm doing this at a very awkward angle so that y'all can get a glimpse. There's my pencil. Okay, anyways. So yesterday was one of those days. This is what I'm learning. This is like what I, since yesterday, have been kind of preaching to myself. And that is that we don't let hard things stop us. So yesterday, honestly, I don't even remember what exactly happened. Oh, I do remember what happened. So it snowed here, kind of a lot a couple days ago, and the snow has just been kind of piled up everywhere, and it's not cute, it's not fun. I do like snow, but when you're an adult who has to drive places and who has to do things, it can be kind of annoying. But anyway, so yesterday I went to go to the grocery store and buy something, and I kind of on a whim, like I was kind of already kind of going out of my way to do something that I didn't plan. I was like, you know what? I did not plan for this today, but this is what I want to do today, so I'm gonna go do it, even though I didn't plan for it. And so I kind of just went, and on my way there, I started to drive, and I made this one turn. This is a pretty sharp turn to get to the grocery store, and it's kind of like a turn into where a stop sign is, like, so people are going to be waiting and whatnot, whatever. And there was someone who's had to make a left as well. I was making a right. Someone across from me was making a left. And as I slowed down to make this sharp right turn, this pile of snow on top of the car comes flying over my windshield. And it's a lot. Like, it's kind of a lot of snow. Like, it kind of blurred my view. I felt a little bit embarrassed because these two cars were waiting for me to go. And, you know, I was like, oh my gosh, how alarming and how kind of embarrassing. And so I had to kind of pull my way into a parking lot somewhere. Like, I was like, I gotta stop somewhere because I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen again. I'm gonna make sure there's no more snow on the top of my car. And my mom had warned me too. She was like, make sure that you get the ice off your car before it melts, because I don't want the ice to scratch your car and whatever. And which is understandable. However, I was like, I don't really care. Like, it's not gonna be a big deal. I'm sure it'll just melt off while it's parked one day. So, and I had gotten some of it off already, but apparently the rest of it, you know, it was not, it had other plans. So anyways, so I go into a parking lot, and there's already like people kind of parked there, so I'm sort of, again, embarrassing, just like walking out of the car, just had snow fall in front of my face in front of two other people, and also I was worried that this block of snow was gonna be in the middle of the road, and it was gonna, you know, in like kind of be like a nuisance to people in a way, I guess, like be a problem just laying in the middle of the road. I will say later I drove by that spot and there was no snow to be seen, so pretty sure we're good there. But okay, I'm switching colors here, but whatever. So after this happened, I'm like taking the snow off my car, the rest of it, whatever is bothering me, and should I change colors? I don't even know. I don't know. Let's just go with it. Can you even see that? You know what? I'll change colors. I'll change it because I think that there's someone who might be watching and who's like, I don't like that color because I can't see it. And you know what? I agree with you. Let's go with this one maybe. It's like an orange red. It's gonna look weird. I apologize, but here we are. Anyways, so after that happens, I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this. Like I said, I didn't plan for it. I just was on a whim, just kind of like, let's go shopping. And like I had to go return something, especially, which was, like I said, with my social anxiety, I'm like, like I have to be in a certain mood to be able to return something because I'm terrified. I don't know why, I just get terrified of everything that involves having to talk to people. Would it be better if I did this? It might be better if I did this, huh? Okay, let's do it like that. Anyway, so I was like, should I just go home? Do I just turn around? Do I just go back home? Like, I think this might be a sign from the universe telling me, hey, go home. Like, hey, don't do it. Something bad's gonna happen if you do it. You're gonna regret it. And, again, there has been a day recently where I did not listen, and it was just bad thing after bad thing after bad thing, and I don't know, it was like, I don't know. So that kind of thought just sort of haunts me a little bit too, of like, just listen to the damn universe. Just listen and just, succumb to it. But anyway, so that voice was in my head, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go because things happen. It's okay. It was embarrassing. It was a little bit, mortifying, but hey, we're human. I didn't know. Now I know. I know that I will never, ever, ever, well, not never maybe, but I will make sure that whatever ice is on my car is not free to come off. Or what am I saying? Yeah, before I drive with ice on my car, I will make sure that it's not going to slide off the car while I'm driving, because that was just a little mortifying, like I said. But it's okay. I'm a human. Now I know. I just had my first time experience of having a problematic pile of snow on top of my car. Whatever. But so I keep going, and I'm gonna go shopping. I just had to go return this thing and then buy something else to replace it, essentially, give or take. I'll just leave this here. But so I keep going. I go to the store. There might have been some other things that happened. I don't really know. I just kind of was like kind of tunnel visioned, just kind of like, let's just go. And so I went. There was a lot of snow in the parking lot of this place. Like, a lot. But I went in, and there was a long line at the customer support, but doesn't matter. I went in, and I waited in line, and I did the damn thing, and all was well. I got it done, and then the lady at the desk was super kind. Like, I mean, she wasn't super kind, but I just like kindness in general. Like, if you're gonna be nice and sweet and treat me like a little girl, like, I love that. I know that sounds maybe stupid, but I mean, I'm being so serious. Sometimes with social anxiety, you just feel like a little kid who wants to be comforted. At least that's for me personally. Like, sometimes I just want to feel like someone out there isn't angry at me. You know what I mean? So it was pretty comforting when this lady was like, you have a nice day. Like, just with a very nice tone, okay? It's a light thing, it's a light gesture, but it meant a lot in that moment. And so I was like, great, I got that done, I did it. It felt like the perfect, the perfect reward, I guess. Reinforcement, let's call it. So, and then I went about my shopping, and it all went fine and dandy, and everything worked out. And yeah, there's not really much to the story, actually, but I just wanted to tell you that I was telling myself this is what I was working on, and it is that I can do hard things. I will not let hard things stop me, okay? Just because something is hard doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Just because something is a little bit troubling, doesn't mean you should let it take you over. Sure, listen to your gut, but don't listen to your anxiety. But yeah. I promise that future videos, if I continue doing this, will not be this choppy, or not, I shouldn't say this choppy, or maybe it will be choppy, I don't know, maybe this video will be choppy, but, because I might shorten it down if it's a little too long, or if it's a little bit, like, okay, did you really have to say that? I don't really know that I had to, but yeah, or like if I have these weird pauses, like, I don't know that I want to include that, but who knows, I might include this, I don't really know. Okay, let's keep coloring. So, something that I want to work on, something that I want to get better at, is this idea that, which in a way it is something that I have worked at, but it's not something that I fully accepted and haven't really like been actively reminding myself. But it is the idea that people show up differently than you do in a way. So I don't know if that makes sense, but basically, like, let's say, for example, friends, right? You might have a friend, because I actually have one friend, my best friend. Thank God I have a best friend. But I have a friend who is just consistently there for me, consistently kind, consistently does things for me that I'm like, it gets me kind of insecure about the way that I show up in a friendship. So my best friend, she is the kind of person that will cook for you. She will be there for you. Like, if you have a problem, she is dropping everything to help you. Like, if she has plans, she's canceling them because she cares about her friends so deeply that is all that matters to her sometimes. And that's how it feels. That's how it comes off. And it makes me, as a friend, feel very insecure because I feel as though if my friend maybe had an issue like, you know, maybe like one that I had in the past. Let's say I was having a bad day and I was just really sad. You know, I might be like, hey, like, you know, call me if you need anything, but, you know, I gotta go. Or, you know, I have these plans. I don't know that I can show up emotionally for a friend. Like, for example, if my best friend was really sad about something, I personally, like, I just don't, maybe it's just because I myself don't have it in me, like, I truly, like I said, I'm kind of, well, I haven't actually said this, but right now, for example, I'm in a season of my life where life is kind of challenging me more than it has in the past, in just a very certain way that I've never experienced before. But so if my best friend right now was like going through something, you know, let's say like if she was depressed, like, for sure I would want to do what I can offer to help her, but I don't know that I could just drop everything and be there for her and say the right things. And, you know, I don't feel totally compelled in the way that she feels compelled to help my friend. And I feel very insecure about that. I feel like it makes me a bad friend. And I don't know, maybe I am. Like I said, I'm still working this out. I don't really know. But I personally feel like I'm a bad friend. Sometimes I feel like I'm the kind of friend that can't offer much. I'm the kind of friend that, like, when I think about what I want myself as a friend, I feel like for certain things, sure, but not for what, like, if I was my go-to best friend, like, I just don't know. I don't know. And again, maybe it's because I'm in a season of my life where I just can't really give much, but just in general, I just feel pretty like I don't feel like I have much to offer a lot of the time. Thank God I only have one friend right now. Thank God for the world. But something that I hope to eventually see is that I do have something to offer. And that, yes, your friends may show up for you in a certain way that where you feel like you cannot show up. But here's the thing that I would say is sometimes those friends maybe, like, this is just, I'm throwing an idea out there. Those friends might not need, I shouldn't say that. It's not that those friends don't need someone to show up for them, but here's an example, right? My best friend, she hates when people pay for her things. She feels like she owes you. If I go out of my way to, like, I don't know, buy her a really nice gift, she will feel like, oh my God, like, I cannot top this, like, and it'll be like an anxiety thing. It won't even be like funny. It'll be like, it'll cause her worry in a way because it's like too much. But she is the kind of person that wants to splurge on you. Like, she doesn't want you paying for anything. She wants to pay for everything, or, you know, or she'll feel guilty. So in that context, it's like, maybe I am the kind of friend, right, who can splurge a little bit. I'm not necessarily, but, you know, if I was the kind of person that could splurge a little bit for my friend, I think there's moments, I'm just going to be totally just transparent here. There are moments I feel like I am the kind of person who I don't find myself spending a lot of money. I'm fortunate enough in this economy, I think, to be living at home with my family right now. But, you know, so basically I have some savings. Like, I'm not losing a whole chunk of money. Like, okay, I'm not gonna be in debt by maybe saving up for something that my friend wants, right? Or something that I know that my friend will want. Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like I'm not speaking clearly, but let me get my thoughts together here before I continue. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is I might be the kind of person, for example, who can go out of my way to maybe get some kind of gift for my friend, let's say, that's kind of extravagant, or I can go out of my way to sort of help out a friend financially, right? And they might not be able to do the same. If I were to go to my friend being like, hey, I'm in a pinch, like, I'm in a pretty deep pinch, or if I can't go to my friend and be like, I want this thing, like, I would never do that, but, you know, for example, like, they physically would not be able to. They would not be able financially to splurge or to, you know, make some great expense. In the same way, like I said, I can go to my friend and be like, hey, I'm depressed, I need support, and she'll drop everything and be there for me. However, if she did that for me, towards me, I might not be able to show up the way that she needs me to. And you know, that's kind of what I'm trying to say here is you do have value as a friend. You can show up in a certain way as a friend that maybe other people can't. And however, you also need to understand that the people who maybe do need you to show up that way, they might have other friends that do show up for them in that way. And that's not to say, oh, this friend is better than you. It's just to say that, hey, this person shows up for this reason for this person, whereas you show up for a different reason. And in the same way, that person cannot show up for your friend the way that you can show up for them in another way. So, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I think I might cut out, I think I might have cut out the last point that I was making, which is something that I've learned, something that I have kind of adopted in my life. So I'm gonna cut out that because I feel like I got very off topic and I want to be more concise. So there might be a bunch of color here that that was not there before. I don't really know yet, but I do feel like I want to retry what I was saying. So the point that I was making, this is not violet. Why does it say violet? Are you kidding me? That's like blue. Isn't that blue? That looks like the same as this color, which was blue. There's some kind of blue. Okay, well, maybe this one will be different. That's violet. Okay. Anyways, so the point that I was trying to make, the thing that I learned, something that I have kind of had to deal with consequences of, is listening to your body. So very recently, I have taken a break from working out, I should say again, but I've taken a break because I don't want to say I injured myself at the gym, but basically let's just say there have been, ever since winter came along, I have been far less, I don't know if that's a word or a term, I've been far less, oh my god, I can't keep saying that. I have been less motivated, let's say, to go to work out, whether it be at home or at the gym. I just felt like my body was saying, hey, please, for the love of God, can we just chill today? Can we just lay in bed and watch YouTube or, just do something else? I really don't want to work out. And I really loved working out. I thought maybe I was getting bored, which I do think is the case because I'd been doing the same workout, the same three workouts for, I think, 12 weeks at one point, and then I kept doing it, went into 14, maybe 15 weeks, and it led up to a moment, which I will say there was other things prior to this unrelated to working out that may have influenced this, but I will say I feel as though my body was communicating to me and I was not listening because I was like, no, I recognize this and I'm not going to let the winter make me lazy. However, I do kind of wish that I had listened because one day I went to the gym, had this headache. I literally had looked it up and was like, hey, is it okay if I go to the gym if this is happening in my body? And it basically was like, yeah, just be careful, and if you feel any pain, immediately stop. And it just so happened that I walked into the gym that day, was just doing my warm-up, and I felt a sharp pain in my neck and shoulders, and I was unable to go through the workout, and I have not worked out since, because ever since then, I will say, there was a couple of things that kind of were extra signaling to me, hey, don't, listen to your body, basically. Some things I had listened to a podcast, literally, or not, it wasn't even a podcast, it was an interview, it was an interview, and I'd been listening to this interview only at the gym. I don't know why, but it had just become like a routine that while I'm on the treadmill, I'm gonna watch this interview. And I promise you that this interview had not once mentioned anything about like your body, anything like that. It was always just about like the career. It was like a celebrity about her career and love. And on this particular day, literally right after I hurt my neck and shoulder, whatever was going on, she happened to bring up this idea of listening to your body, of literally her body telling her like forcing her to change what she was doing. And I took that as my sign. I was like, okay, so maybe I need to stop working out. Maybe I should have listened when I felt a little bit like, hey, we want to rest. We want to stay home. We want to stay in bed. Like, just let yourself rest, you know? And because I didn't listen, I think it led up to this moment of like, this pain. And I'm still dealing with it. It's gotten better, and then it's gotten worse, and then it got better again, and then it got worse. Not like worse, but I mean, this today and yesterday, it had just started up again for the third time technically. I'm sorry, I'm not paying too much attention to the angle here, but I'm trying to be mindful. But yeah, so today it kind of got a little bit worse, which I won't get into why. It's just that, again, I should probably stop thinking that I can do things when my body maybe doesn't want to, or maybe has signaled, hey, just don't. So that's what I've kind of learned, is listen to your body. And I will give another example of this that has happened, also related to working out. So I just recently started switching to like body weight training or calisthenics, which I'm not good at it at all. However, it keeps me active and it makes me happy, and I'm making progress in a way that I haven't seen in a few years. In terms of, working out. But before that, I was weightlifting for a few years, which I loved. At the very beginning, I loved it. However, at some point, I wasn't seeing progress anymore. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. It felt like torture at some point because the weight I was lifting felt so heavy, which, yes, I might have been overlifting, like ego lifting as they call it. And I do think I was to some extent. However, it was way too boring. In that case, it was way too boring to be doing like lighter weights. So I came to a point recently where I was like, okay, what else can I be doing? How do I switch it up? Like, how do I fall back in love? Whatever. And I ended up landing on calisthenics. But prior to this, about 2 years ago, or like a year and a half ago, I was in a similar situation where I was like having a really hard time being consistent with weightlifting again. And in 2024, like around the summer of 2024, I was having a hard time, like I said, being consistent, and I really wanted to be consistent, but things just kept happening where it was making it impossible for me to be consistent. So, for example, I remember it was at one point I got sick, and then after I got better, I was having knee pain, and then after my knee pain kind of settled, I got sick again. It was like always something, and it kept happening like so often. And then at some point it was like the gym was closed. It was like a lot. And that's like leaning a little bit more into like spirituality and whatnot. But there was some level of like, hey, like, don't you listen? Like, listen up, girl, listen. So, you know, that's kind of another little example. Not to say to lean into those things. Like, I know for me it's been really tough to be like, to differentiate between me just wanting to be like, oh yes, I don't have to work out today because the universe said no. Like, it's not like that. It's more like, listen to your gut, listen to your body. If you feel like you need to rest, especially in the winter, because I'm at a point right now where I'm like, hey, it's wintertime. My body inherently wants to be in hibernation mode, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I would rather do that because in the winter, this is something I'm learning. I believe our joints become less mobile, I'm gonna say. I don't know if that's the right word that I want to use here, but they become a little bit more squeaky, rusty. And I'm experiencing that in many ways right now in the peak of winter. So, you know, just kind of allow yourself some wiggle room, allow yourself to enjoy. It's kind of like this. I'm going to put it this way. In the winter, you can go sledding, you can go snowboarding, you can go skiing. In the summer, you cannot. Likewise, in the summer, you can swim, you can do any summer activity. You can go to the beach and go swimming. I mean, I guess you could do that in the winter, but it's not the best idea. You can, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of summer activities, but I do like swimming. However, in the winter, it's not as possible. Why are you gonna try and sled in the summer? Like, you don't have to do that. And even though you might want to be the kind of person who can sled in the summer, you know, sometimes you can't until you're in the right situation. Like, let's say if you go to, I don't know, what's a place that always has snow? Like, maybe freaking Antarctica. I don't know. I don't know if places like Iceland have snow all the time. I would say no. Maybe Greenland. I don't know how often people go there, but, you know, perhaps some parts of Canada. You could go there and you could go sledding in the summer, but in the winter, I mean, not in the winter, but in like, let's say in the place where you live, that's not possible. Don't force yourself to do those things. That might be a bad example, but it's just an example that I thought of now. It's an analogy. And same with the swimming. You don't have to go swimming in freezing cold water, okay? You really don't. You don't have to break open the ice and go swimming. Like, you can rest. Allow yourself to rest. Like, I don't know. I'm an earth sign. I don't know if anyone out there, I think there's a lot of us at this point that really like astrology. But I do find that I'm consistently an earth girl, no matter what. I'm all about following nature. I'm all about being grounded and listening to your body. Listening to your body. So that's something that I have learned more recently, but, you know, never say, oh, it's fine. I'll be fine. 'Cause, you know, sometimes you won't be fine. Maybe you'll end up like me and be like, oh, I'm fine. And then you hurt your neck and you can't work out for a whole month plus. So, which is awful. I miss working out a lot. I miss making progress and I miss feeling as good as I did when I worked out, but I will say there are definitely benefits to not working out. For example, I get to sleep in. I mean, not all the time. Like, I still have to work and do my adult obligations, but However, on days that I have off, I don't have to like get up early. And I will say, during the winter, I feel like this year and last year, I find myself waking up later. You know, I want to sleep a little more, a little longer in the winter. So listen to that when you can. Maybe I haven't learned that, but that is something that I'm sort of like questioning, and something that I'm kind of like, do I believe in that? And so perhaps that is more of like a learning thing. But anyways, those are my 3. I know that took a very long time, but I will cut this down as much as I can, so as not to embarrass myself. But do let me know. For those who might be listening, please do feel free to share your 3 things. Again, I don't care. As someone with social anxiety, I'm telling you, I literally don't care if you go on a tangent. I want to hear it, okay? I want to hear your tangent. I would love to read it all. I would love for you to go down that rabbit hole. So yeah, please do share. And I'm interested to see where we're all at in the world. I want to see where we all are in life right now. I feel like 2026 has been quite a challenge for not just me, but also other people. I feel like strangely there's been a lot of chaos going on in many different ways. And I don't know, I would love to see if maybe you guys can relate, or if, I don't know, maybe you don't agree with me. I would love maybe to hear about that. I'm pretty bad, actually. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I just haven't had the opportunity to be criticized, or maybe at least criticized in a way that I might be interested in, but, you know, be respectful at least. But, you know, let me know if you do think something I said is a little bit off, in your own opinion. I would be interested in seeing what you gotta say. With that, I will leave this one here. I hope to God that I might post this. I'm gonna like probably edit this and see what I can do. I hope that this format, let me know if there's anything I can improve on. Obviously, I know I can improve with my setup here, but if there's anything maybe with this particular setup that I can do better, let me know. I just want to be able to do what y'all want, okay? I want to please whoever needs this. Like, I want this to be for you. This is not for me. This is for you. Yeah, I feel like this is, again, 2026 has been a little bit chaotic so far for me, and I can see in certain people, like, you know, people that I see, like I just heard someone yesterday, one of our customers, he's having a bit of a rough time. I've seen some stuff on YouTube, the news, of course. Life is a little bit daunting sometimes, and I would love to bring some peace, because sometimes I feel this sense of peace within myself that I'm not able to share in my own life, so I would love to be able to share it somehow. Yeah, so let me know how I can make this more peaceful for you, or more enjoyable, whatever it may be. And with that said, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.